All right, here's what we're doing today. So I picked up this ddaudio motor. You can see that it's the old ddaudio DD3510D4, made all the way back in June 27th, 2014. I got two of them for a hell of a deal. One is in rough shape, but it still flexes. This one did not flex, and that is because the top plate had shifted. This guy that sits on top here was cockeyed, so someone had maybe dropped it, or the glue came loose, you know, the epoxy came loose or whatever. There's the old coil, got a little wave to it, but it was locked up pretty good. So I thought I'd make a video on how to realign a top plate. I'm not gonna get into removing the top plate too much. Basically, it's pretty simple. You just find you some longer screws, bolts rather, that are the same thread pitch that will go through the top mount plate. Start threading those in evenly in a pattern all the way around until it comes up. Keep screwing them down until the screw is bottomed out, and then you have enough, there's less magnetism holding it together, and you can actually pull it apart by hand, or maybe with the help of a little, I use a thin piece of wood, some plastic pry tool maybe, something that's not metal, not magnetic metal that's gonna stick to it and not wanna move. So, yeah, use your longer bolts to take it off the magnet, and then you can pry it off by hand. So now this is all cleaned up. Do a little more cleaning on it, but these are mostly cleaned up, and I'm gonna show you how I glue all these back together. And if you have access to a 3D printer, and you can measure the ID of the pole piece, and you can measure the ID of the top plate, you can use that, and you can make you a little cup that goes in, and the top plate goes on, and lines it up perfectly for you if you have a 3D printer. I don't have a 3D printer. So if you have access to the 3D printer, good for you, but I'm gonna do this 3D printer less. All I did, went to Home Depot, and I got a piece of, it was a 4-inch sewage cap, or 4-inch piece of PVC. I'll see if I can put it up in the video or put it in the description or whatever. But I cut it up into quarters, and then I even cut it a little bit shorter, and I have these 3 pieces. They're roughly the same length, and they're gonna go in around here in thirds. Now this is a 4-inch cap. This is a 3-inch coil. How does that work? Well, that's why I had to cut these down a little bit. There is a little flex to these, so they will squeeze in here no problem through the plate, and keep everything aligned as the glue sets. So like I said, I'm gonna walk you through how I am gonna glue this top mount plate back on. I'm using just JB Weld High Temp. There are better epoxies. This one has not failed me, so I'm using this one. I also like to use one of these pre-mixed caps. They're just really handy to have. So we're gonna do a little more cleaning, and then I will get started gluing it down, and I'll get you in here closer when this starts to sit down on top. So okay, here we go. Okay, I'm gonna try and do this as carefully as possible without smashing my fingers. All right, it's gonna go on there, and it's gonna go on crooked at first. We're gonna fix that. We have a few minutes to fix it before the epoxy sets. And actually, here's what we'll do. I'm gonna run this one in. You want to be careful if you do this so it doesn't chip the magnet material. I'm gonna be very careful here. Try not to pinch my fingers. Put one side down, and there you go. All right, so that's on. I'll slowly bring these up as well, just to, relieve some of the magnetic force so I can move it around a little bit. I'm gonna bring them up roughly even. Oops. And then once you get it high enough, the it's not gonna have as much of a magnetic pull. All right, now my shims. Okay, so it's gonna go in there. It's gonna move around a little bit. I'm gonna put it in here and then twist to open up this side. Now, it still may not be open enough, and that's where a little pry tool or a pick comes in super handy. Make sure it's clean so you don't get too much gunk down in the magnet. There we go. Cool. Now it's kind of opened up. And we might probably slip this in. Yep. Just like that. Move this to the side just a bit. There we go. Move it. Come on now. Center up. Center up. Let's go. There you go. I'll slide this in. Bend it in just a little bit. There we go. See, now it's centered. They're evenly spaced. They're obviously the same thickness because they came from the same piece of material. There we go. So now that's lined up. It's centered. And now we can let our bolts down. A few turns at a time. So it touches the magnet evenly. I'm just using 3 bolts. You can use 4, you can use 5. Whoa, hold up. It's one thing I did forget about. You have to make sure the shims are going down with the top plate. So you might hammer them down in there. Come on now. There you go. Okay, so now the shims are down in there how I want them. And now we can keep lowering this thing. Keep an eye on your shims to make sure they're going down with the top plate. All right, and this one. All right, they're all on. Now we can take them out, put them to the side. All right, clean up any residue. There we go. All right, so it's lined up, it's shimmed, but one more thing you want to do. Put one of these back in real quick. One more thing you want to do here. Give it a turn. Turn the top plate. And that just moves the glue around. Spreads it out, moves it around, moves the epoxy around. And you'll see a little seam coming out on the edge. That's totally fine. You don't really want much of a seam, a squeeze of glue coming out on the inside, because that may touch your shims, and then you're not getting those shims out. So you gotta be careful with that. You can move these around a little bit to make sure they don't have any epoxy on them, but I made sure not to get too close. So the top plate does sit in inside. It's got a smaller ID than the magnet. And that's kind of where the coil rides in, and that's how you align it all up. But it's all lined up now. Got the glue spread out. And now, don't need to put any clamps on it. It's got enough of a magnetic force. It's gonna stay there all by itself. We'll come back in 24 hours, pull the shims, and make sure everything's good. So that's how I do the top mount plate. Fix it from shifted to just back to normal. So hope you enjoyed, hope you learned something. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section down below. Like, share, subscribe. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Take her easy.